Today, millions of wealthy people living in Silicon Valley spend massive amounts of money on expensive smartphone applications and premium health trackers to optimize their daily eating schedules. We are constantly told by modern technology entrepreneurs and famous fitness influencers that intermittent fasting is a revolutionary new biological hack invented by 21st century science. Therefore, we naturally assume that manipulating our metabolic windows is a highly advanced modern privilege that requires complex data analysis and strict digital monitoring. But the shocking historical reality is that this exact same physiological protocol was perfected over 2,000 years ago by the most terrifying and successful military machine in human history. Long before smartphones or digital timers were ever conceived, the soldiers of the ancient Roman Empire were unknowingly utilizing the exact same metabolic advantages to conquer the known world. These brutal ancient warriors did not fast because they wanted to look good for social media or because a tech billionaire told them it was optimal for longevity. They adopted a severely restricted eating window because it forged them into absolutely unstoppable weapons of war. We look at modern fasting as a comfortable luxury for wealthy office workers, but the ancient Romans used it as a foundational survival mechanism, building an empire of unmatched physical endurance upon the simple principle of prolonged strategic hunger. If you visit a modern nutritionist today, they will likely advise you to eat 4 to 6 small meals throughout the day to keep your metabolism constantly active. We have been completely conditioned by the modern food industry to believe that human beings need a continuous supply of heavy calories to perform even the most basic physical tasks. Therefore, the average person today panics at the slight feeling of a completely empty stomach rushing to consume sugary snacks to maintain their fragile energy levels. But the ancient Romans viewed this modern habit of constant grazing as a disgusting sign of physical weakness and moral corruption. Educated Roman citizens and hardened military commanders genuinely believed that consuming only one massive meal a day was the absolute ultimate key to superior human digestion and unbreakable physical vitality. They completely rejected the idea of eating breakfast, considering it a dangerous indulgence that would simply make a soldier slow and lethargic. Therefore, the legendary Roman legionaries would wake up long before the sun even started to rise and immediately begin their brutal daily routines without consuming a single calorie. They understood that the human body operates with terrifying efficiency when it is completely deprived of early morning comfort, forcing the mind to remain incredibly sharp and violently alert. To truly understand the intense physical reality of this ancient fasting protocol, you must imagine the daily life of a standard Roman legionary on an active military campaign. These hardened men were required to march over 20 brutal miles every single day, while carrying more than 40 kilos of heavy armor, weapons, and building supplies on their backs. Therefore, it seems completely impossible to a modern observer that they could survive such extreme physical devastation without consuming massive amounts of food along the way. But the military logistics of the Roman army actively forced the soldiers to operate in a deep, fasted state for the entire duration of the sunlight hours. The legions simply could not afford to stop their rapid forward momentum to cook meals or distribute heavy rations during the day. Therefore, the soldiers marched, fought, and built massive fortified camps completely empty, relying entirely on their internal fat stores for explosive physical energy. Once the sun finally went down and the brutal work was completely finished, the soldiers would gather around their campfires for their single massive evening meal. They would consume heavy amounts of boiled barley, thick beans, and salted pork, rapidly replenishing their destroyed muscles just before going to sleep. This extreme cycle of deep fasting and massive evening refeeding naturally created the ultimate fat-burning warriors. But this incredible physical endurance was only one half of the ancient Roman biohacking equation. The practice of intentional starvation was not just a logistical military necessity, but a deeply revered philosophical training method for the Roman elite. Famous Stoic philosophers, like Seneca, actively instructed their wealthy followers to regularly abandon their comfortable lives and completely restrict their food intake for several days at a time. Therefore, this ancient version of fasting was explicitly used as a brutal psychological tool to actively conquer human fear and eliminate physical dependency. The Stoics realized that if a man could train his mind to completely ignore the screaming biological desire for food, he would instantly become absolutely immune to the chaotic pressures of the dangerous ancient world. But today, our modern culture has completely stripped away this profound psychological armor. We utilize intermittent fasting strictly to lose a few pounds or look slightly better in the mirror, completely ignoring the massive mental resilience that the ancient practice was actually designed to build. The Romans did not endure hunger to manipulate their outer appearance. They deliberately starved themselves to build an impenetrable fortress inside their own minds, proving that total control over the human appetite is the absolute foundation of all personal power. When modern scientists finally began studying the incredible biological effects of intermittent fasting, they discovered massive improvements in cellular repair, immune system regulation, and cognitive focus. We proudly celebrate these modern clinical discoveries as if we have just unlocked a brand new secret to human evolution. Therefore, tech billionaires and modern fitness gurus aggressively market these ancient biological rhythms as their own brilliant futuristic inventions. But the dusty ancient roads of the Roman Empire hold the undeniable proof that our modern biohacking industry is essentially just copying a 2,000-year-old military manual. The legendary warriors who built the foundations of Western civilization did not need laboratory data or scientific studies to understand the immense power of an empty stomach. They simply aligned themselves with the brutal, natural laws of human biology, forcing their bodies into a constant state of peak physical adaptation. Therefore, the next time you look at your smartphone application to check if you are allowed to eat, remember that you are merely participating in a heavily diluted version of ancient Roman warfare. True human optimization does not come from a digital screen or a modern health clinic. It comes from the ancient understanding that the human body is infinitely stronger when it is forced to survive the burning fire of intentional deprivation.